Hey folks, Mark the Landlocked Surfer here with you today with another SurfSkate review, and this is one you're going to want to stick around to the end of because this board really surprised me. Today we're reviewing the Curfboard Wave SE SurfSkate. This is a board that I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I knew it looked like nothing else I'd ever seen before. And I was interested in trying it, and it really was not what I was expecting from it. So let's get into the details and break down this Curfboard. I'm going to start out by letting you guys know for transparency that Curfboard, the company, reached out to me and offered me the chance to try this board, so I did not purchase it, but I'm going to review it as if I did. I'm going to take into consideration the cost and everything like that and give you guys the honest truth, because that's what's going to be best for surf skating, that's going to be best for you guys, it's what's going to be best for the company too, to hear that honest feedback. I don't even know where to begin with explaining the uniqueness of this SurfSkate truck system and still keeping this video within a reasonable time limit. But basically, to narrow it down, the creators of this product started as a Kickstarter campaign. I believe the person who invented it is a German engineer for BMW, and who created a system that doesn't use either a spring or a bushing in the SurfSkate mechanism. It's entirely gravity based. And what that means is there's a couple benefits. One, it's really low to the ground. It's much lower to the ground than other surf skates. So it feels almost like a cruiser board, like it doesn't have that elevated sense of the deck above the ground. And also it is incredibly light. It is literally like 2 pounds lighter than most of my other surf skates. So it's incredibly intriguing, especially for me as someone who's going to start traveling again soon and looking for a nice board to pack in a suitcase. So let's get into some of the specifics of how it performs. Let's start off with the key ingredient, which is the Curfboard trucks. And these are just beautifully engineered. They're lightweight, they flow freely, they're just designed really well. One nice thing about not having bushings or a spring is that my daughters, who weigh 50 pounds, can use these without needing to adjust the trucks or anything like that. Basically, using the gravity-based system allows it to adjust based on your weight, and anyone can use the same board. Now, one thing that I did notice, which is a little bit different from other boards, is that they don't have as much lean as like a Yow or a Smooth Star. In terms of the lean, it's a little bit more similar to a Carver C7. That's not a bad thing. You still have a lot of rotation, so you can still get that rotational carve. And one of the things that the creators of the product say is that this is to more accurately provide that surf training experience. So when you're surfing, you're not using your front foot to engage your rail. You have to kind of get onto your tail and get your rail in from the back forward. So if you're looking for a surf trainer, this might be a little bit more accurate. On the other hand, a lot of people who are going to be using surf skates, including me, are never going to be Kelly Slater getting our rail halfway buried in the water on our turns. So, one of the nice things about surf skates with those boards that have the deeper lean is that we can at least pretend we're doing that when we're riding our surf skates. So you don't get that feeling on this board, which if you're surf training might be a good thing. If you're looking to try to feel like you're a pro surfer doing big carves on a concrete bank, you might not get that on flat ground on this board, but stay tuned for the bowl section. So if you like your trucks loose on your surf skate, well, it doesn't get much looser than this. Just the gravity alone is enough to shift those. It's pretty loose. That looseness makes it really easy to get up to speed when you're pumping. But one thing I was worried about is how is this going to fare when you try to drop in or when you try to do a grind on the coping. So one thing I liked when looking at these trucks is you can see that it's completely clear in between the wheels. There's no kingpin sticking out. And the other nice thing about these trucks is they don't jackknife. Because of the way they're set up, you can't actually bottom out this board and get wheel bite. So I was kind of a mixed feeling about how these were going to perform. So here's the part that shocked me. They perform incredible. The very first grind that I locked into was maybe the best grind that I've done on a Surfskate. I got right up onto the deck and turned my normal carve grind into a stand-up 50-50 grind. They just slide so clean, they lock on well, they release well. They are probably the best grinding trucks that I've used on a Surfskate. They also drop in well. I had no issues with wobbles when dropping in, so that was fine. One little weird thing that surprised me is that while these drop in fine, I did have a little issue with rolling in on an uneven surface. So there's a little piece of flashing where the ramps connect at my indoor skate park. And because the trucks are so loose, if you hit those on an angle, it would push the wheels sideways and sometimes cause me to fall off. So I'm interested to see how this will perform on less manicured surfaces to see if that's a recurring issue. There's a way to adjust it with your stance, but it's something to be aware of. That's one negative that I found. The deck on the Wave SE is a very distinct look to it. It's quite boxy and square, kind of got that German utilitarian feel to it. It's very compact as well. It's 29 inches long, about 9.5 inches wide, and it has a wheelbase just over 18 inches. So it's extremely compact, but it still gives you that long wheelbase by essentially eliminating the nose. There's no nose on this deck whatsoever. So doing this helps to keep the board extremely light, and it's very compact as well. So that's something that is going to contribute to making this what I think might be the best travel board to have in your quiver. So obviously there's going to be some trade-offs to dropping the nose, especially for someone like me who's the unconventional rider. So nose manuals, nollies, those are going to be out, as well as any nose slides. But some of the other things that more people might like to do, like even doing ollies, having a bit of a nose with some lift there is going to help you with doing that. I found sometimes when I tried to ollie on this board, my front foot kind of almost goes right off the edge of it when I'm trying to push it forward and level it out. The other downside about the deck, the pet peeve of mine that you hear me complain about almost all boards I ride, is the lack of concave. Now, again, if you're using this as a surf trainer, a lot of people who use their surf skates for surf training like to have that flat deck because it's more similar to a surfboard, so you get that board feel under you. But when it comes to surf skating, something a little bit more like a skateboard is really useful, especially when you're trying big moves, when you're getting inverted. I was trying to do a rock and roll on this over the coping. My foot just kept slipping off every time I tried to bring it back in. I tried it maybe 20 times and it was the exact same thing. So I would like to see a future model using these trucks and a similar design to the board as well, but with a little bit more concave. So I really put this board through the ringer. I tested this deck to its very limits, trying both unconventional tricks and more conventional riding, and it held up extremely well. I was doing a lot of airs, practicing my early grabs on this board in the bowl, and I did notice a little bit of stress cracks on the bottom ply near the bolt holes, but the way I ride, that's pretty normal. You see it on a lot of my boards, so I'm not too worried about that. The deck held up pretty well. It did make me wonder if I could ride this board so well with the condition that it's in, without a lot of concave, without a nose. What would happen if I put the Curfboard trucks on a deck that's more suited to my riding style? So I'm going to show you the results of that at the end of this review. The wheels that come stock on the Curfboard Wave SE are 70 millimeters. They're 81A durometer. They have a pretty large contact patch, and these are a bit larger wheels than I typically use because I do a lot of skate park riding. But I found these wheels to be very good. They were a perfect mix of providing the right grip you needed for pumping while still releasing in slides when you want them to. These wheels served me really well. They locked on in grinds and released without a lot of hang-up issues, which is one thing I was concerned about. And I was quite impressed. It sort of reminded me of the stock Smooth Star wheels that came on the Manta Ray as some of the better stock wheels that you could get on a complete Surfskate. Curfboard also sell just the truck so that you can create your own setup. And with how impressed I was with this board as a complete, I really wanted to see if I could take advantage of the lightness of these trucks, of how low to the ground this Surfskate was, to set it up with a deck that's more my style. So I found a great board from a Canadian company called Zenit that is still lightweight, but has more of the concave and the design that I'd be looking for while still keeping a long wheelbase. And basically, once I did that, everything that I liked about this board just got even better. I was able to finally start landing those rock and rolls because my foot stayed on. I felt more confident doing big slides on vert. I was able to ollie better and get into board slides and more unconventional things. So, if you can find a deck that you like and set them up with Curfboard trucks, you'll have the ability to customize a board to your riding style, even if you're someone with a style as unconventional as mine. In terms of cost and value, the complete Curfboard is €329, so it's pretty much on point with a brand new Yao Complete or Smoothstar Complete or Swelltech Complete. It's in that same ballpark, in some cases the exact same price, and I think that's about fair for what you're getting from this board. The trucks alone can be purchased for €169, so if you already have a deck in mind and other gear that you can set up your own custom one, that's another option that you wouldn't be able to get from the likes of Smoothstar, and it can be difficult to get stock from some other companies to get just trucks alone to set up your own custom deck, so I really love having that option. So at the end of the day, would I recommend this board to my fellow surf skaters? I'm going to lay out some of the pros and cons of this board to you. So first off, if you're using it just for cruising around flatland, I didn't find it quite as exciting to ride as I did the Yao and the Smoothstar and the Swelltech, where you got that deeper lean in your carves. So if you're just planning on using this in a flat parking lot, trying to imagine that you're a pro surfer, then this might not be the most satisfying compared to some of the other boards that offer that deeper lean. But if you're using it for actual surf training, I think there's a lot of validity to choosing this board. Now, when it comes to riding in a bowl, this is just absolutely my favorite board to ride in the bowl right now. It is so fast, it is so nimble, it grinds so well, it just does everything well in the bowl. So if you're looking for a bowl-specific setup, this is a great option. Other pros is the weight. It is so light and easy to transport that if you're traveling a lot, if you're looking for a board to bring along with you when you go on the road, another great option in that regard. Another positive about this board is how low maintenance it is. No bushings or springs to worry about. It also means that you can share this board with other people who are different weight and sizes, and it should work just as well for them. That's a great bonus. It's also super low to the ground, so for doing more skate style and conventional tricks, that's a benefit as well. On the flip side of the benefits of that looseness is the truck being so loose that sometimes it can just take an unexpected dive sideways if you hit something off balance. So just something that you have to be a little bit extra cognizant about. At the end of the day, personal preference is going to play a big role in how much you like this board. But if you have a similar style to me and you like riding in skate parks and you really enjoy riding in bowls, I'd say it's a no-brainer that this is a good board to consider adding to your quiver. Guys, if you're interested in purchasing a Curfboard of your own or a set of Curfboard trucks, I'm going to throw up an affiliate link in the description of this video that'll save you 10% on your order. That'll be valid up until May of 2022. So if it's something you're considering, use that link. It'll save you a bit of money. I will get a small percentage from sales as a commission, but I don't really care. It's more about saving you money on your surf skates. Use it if you like. If you don't, I'm not too worried about it. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate all the likes, the comments, the feedback. If you have any questions about this specific board or the Curfboard trucks, feel free to ask me. I know this board really surprised me. It was not what I was expecting from it, and you probably have questions about how it performs. Feel free to drop those in the comments, and I'll do my best to get back to everybody. Thanks, and we'll see you for the next one.